Welcome to DBSync. Today we'll take a look at DBSync advanced practices on how we can create a source table and a target table within DBSync and have two applications communicate with each other. Let's get started by logging into DBSync account and getting into the mappings or the workflows section. Click on customer login and log into your account. So once you're logged in, you can see my home page where you can get started with the app by clicking on launch button. Once you have launched the application, you can see the profiles which are added to your DBSync account. Today, I'll be walking through advanced practices or the mappings flow where we can set up a source table and a target table for Salesforce and QuickBooks integration. So to get into the mappings, you'll have to just click on edit, and there you will be redirected to the adapters page. Make sure you validate your adapters before you get into the mappings. To validate the adapters, you need to configure the Salesforce adapter by clicking on edit button here, by providing your user login and the password and also the security token when we are getting started to connect for the first time. Next, configure the QuickBooks adapter by providing the path where exactly the QuickBooks file is hosted. Once the adapters are valid, you will have to get into the workflow section by clicking on the bidirectional sync on the right panel. Once you're in the workflow section, you can see all the default template or the workflows which are defined in our default template or the standard template that we provide for Salesforce and QuickBooks integration. To add a new workflow in DBSync, you'll have to just drag and drop create state from the left panel into the workflow panel. Provide a name for the new workflow. Place the new state where exactly you want it to execute. So as of now, I'm just placing it here. And to add a new workflow to the existing workflow section, you'll have to disconnect the previous set of mappings or the connections that are already existing. So click on cross mark here to disconnect the previous state and connect the previous state to the new state that you have created. Right click and connect to the existing state here. So once the connections are completed, you'll have to save the settings. To create a source and a target table, you'll have to just double click on the new state that you have created. By default, the newly created state would be active. Right click, open data flow. So this is the data flow section where you'll have to create a source table, a target, and a table to map. Create reader. Map. And a writer. Connect all the sequences that you have created as we did earlier. So once the connections are set up, you'll have to click on save. So once these connections are saved, you'll have to right click on the reader properties to configure the reader or the source table. Considering my example here, I'm reading from Salesforce and writing into QuickBooks. Let's create a reader to query something from Salesforce. So I'll choose the adapter as Salesforce. Here, the batch size actually provides you how many records in a batch that we can query from Salesforce. So let's provide 100. And the query is the SQL query that you need to provide here. You can query from any object specified in Salesforce. You can also get the metadata of all the objects that's present in your Salesforce instance. So here you can see all the objects that are present in your Salesforce org. You can choose the object from where you need to query or read from. So let me select one. And here you can see all the fields associated with that object, and you can select the necessary fields that needs to be integrated with QuickBooks destination. So you can keep adding these, or you can provide a DBSync variable at the right beginning which says so here this variable is created by DBSync to fetch everything from Salesforce object. So it's something similar to this SQL query which says select star. So instead of star, for querying all the fields from a particular object, we can use DBSync variable. Once you have provided the SQL query here, you need to just save the reader and configure the writer before you can get into the map. Choose the adapter to write and select the table. You can click on lookup to get all the tables from QuickBooks. So let me choose one from here. Max batch size is again nothing but how much records are we writing into the target table. P key is nothing but the primary key that we can provide when we are making an update or an upsert call into the writer. So here for a customer in QuickBooks, either name is the primary key or list ID, nothing but the QuickBooks ID is the primary key. So right now I'm providing name to be as a primary key because we can do an upsert call then. And the write type are insert, update, upsert and delete. So here DBSync supports insert, update and upsert calls to QuickBooks adapter. Delete write type is not supported for QuickBooks adapter. Since we have provided a primary key, we can have the write type to be as upsert. If you just want to make an insert call into the writer, you can remove the primary key and just have the write type to be as insert. Once you have configured the writer, you'll have to save the settings and go to the map where you can do the mappings to connect between the reader and the writer. Sequence is a must, where it would show you the order of execution if you are writing into multiple tables. So as of now I have just one writer and the sequence will be 1. Save the properties and click on edit button under the map to get into the mappings where you can select the source and the target tables. So on the right hand corner or the right panel, which shows you the source and the target. Target is nothing but our QuickBooks table, that is customer AdRQ, and source is nothing but our account object. So you can choose the fields that needs to be mapped from the source to the target. So the account name, that is from the source, the account name goes to the customer name. In the target area, you can see the XML node starts from customer add, before which we'll have to provide the root XML node to have the mapping structured possible. So here you can see customer AdRQ is the root XML node. Provide the same in the target and save. So the mappings are done to send the customer name, that is the account name from Salesforce, to the customer name in QuickBooks. Similarly, you can find the source and the target fields which needs to be mapped. This can be replicated to a custom object in Salesforce to send in information to any other entities in QuickBooks. The mappings are provided in our existing template for the standard objects. As the naming convention goes, you can see we have the standard objects which are mapped to the standard entities in QuickBooks. Apart from this, we can also have custom objects integrate with other entities in QuickBooks apart from our standard template. Hope this session was helpful for everyone. We'll meet you next time. Thank you.